Hey, what's up, everybody? Theta has gotten a big pump today, up almost 8.5%. It was up a little bit more earlier this morning. Wow, look at that. It just goes to show just how powerful this asset is. I mean, it's not even, it's peanuts compared to where this thing's actually going to go. But we've been talking about it for, the last couple months now, being in a bottoming process. Now, I put a video out yesterday with the possibility of a Wyckoff scenario. That scenario is still in play. And basically what that is would be some ranging, right? So basically we're ranging in here, and we can see, right, if we just put some color on here, right, you have this three-way move to the upside, right? We come back down, come back down, come back up, and then you kind of swoop around. We'll swoop around, kind of make a little cupping action. Then you sort of play around in here a little bit, and then boom, lights out, right? And that would sort of be kind of like a ascending triangle of some sort, right? Basically like a Wyckoff, right? So, and another thing too is it could actually come down and take out this liquidity, right? And that would be, you can see this is schematic 2. So if it's a schematic 1, this could be a very fast move to the downside and then sort of continue higher. But either way, this is a bottoming process. It's going to take weeks. It could take months. I mean, we've already been in it. So let's see here. Since really, I would say July. So really in July, we had this big dump here, sort of at the beginning of August. And I think that marked the low. But you can kind of see what it's doing as well. You can kind of see a little bit of a shoulder here, a little bit of a head, another shoulder. You got this downward resistance line, and you're kind of breaking out here. So if we get rid of this idea, well, what else could it be, right? Because really we needed to turn around yesterday, right, for it to be Wyckoff. But obviously it had a very powerful pump today. So if this continues, we could see a move back to about $1.60 or so. And, basically we would have a much bigger range, something like that. And from there, right, once we get up there, then we start sort of swooping around a little bit, playing around, and then create that Wyckoff structure. I mean, that's another way you can kind of look at it. It's a little bit untraditional because of it's getting back above the range here, right? So I don't know. I think the Wyckoff is a very good idea. And then also another idea here is simply, right, we have a 1, and this is an expanded flat 2, and now we have another 1, right? Maybe we get another 2. So a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And then continue higher. But this rally, I'm a little bit skeptical. I won't lie. I think, we've been going up since September 6th, and today's what, the 26th? So about 20 days we've been going up. So I'm expecting, either we're going to get a bigger breakout here, breaking out of this range. So something like where we kind of get up here, we're kind of playing around a little bit, and then a big breakout back to $1.90, right? And then from there we start flagging out, right? And then continue higher. So that's one way we can look at it as well, is from that perspective. Or you see this shoulder here, and you can sort of see sort of like a double head. We can kind of get a little other shoulder that would kind of match this, probably down to $1.25 or so. and then continue to break. So there's a lot of different ways it can happen, right? So the hard part is trying to figure out the route in which it's taking. But the easy part is knowing, did we bottom, right? That's the part people want to know. Are we generally going to go up? And my answer to you is yes. I believe the bottom is in, unless we get a Wyckoff spring and it's a fast liquidity grab, then so be it. But I believe the bottom is in. I believe this is a bottoming process. It could be, like I said, it could be an ascending triangle, right? Where we're sort of doing something like this. It could be this inverse head and shoulders, right? It could be Wyckoff. It could be, there's a couple different other, we could have a straight impulse, like a 1-2, 1-2, right? And then we can get a 3, 4, and 5. So the point is, or we can just simply, for example, right, we're building a base. We can simply just oscillate in this base down in here before heading higher. So we'll see what happens on the bigger macro front. But when we zoom out here, you can clearly see what's going on. Right? We've talked about this many times. We've had a Wyckoff structure down in here, right? And I just dragged that a little bit further along, and we broke out of it, and now we're coming back and we're back testing it. And so this to me is a completed crashing structure. And in my opinion, not financial advice, I could be wrong, but I believe we're going back into the retracement levels. And then from there, that's the tricky part, right? Because remember what I always say in regards to retracement. You have point A, which is the top, point B, which is the bottom, and then point C. So A is a little bit tricky. The bottom's is definitely the easiest, and the retracement is definitely the hardest. So I would say retracement number 1 is highest difficulty level of figuring it out. So that's number 1 difficulty. Number 2 difficulty would be trying to gauge the top, and the least difficult is gauging the bottom. That's just in my experience, right? And you can say that the bottom and the top are basically the same, and they really are, right? Because you just inverse it, and you can say, okay, well, that's the top, right? Let's look at it inverse for a second. Does that look bearish to you, or does that look bullish? To me, we sort of came down here, right? We sort of made this hill, and then we crashed down, and then we sort of retraced back up here. Very, very choppy corrective. And now we're getting stalled out in here. So to me, it looks like it needs to do that, right? And it looks like it needs to do that. So when I flip it right side up, that's what we're looking at here. So it's a good day to be a Theta holder. We're at $1.50. It's not bad at all. We got a bullish engulfing candle, and like I said, this is a very key area here that we broke out of, right? We were right at resistance, and look at that. We have a bullish engulfing candle breaking above this this local high. So we officially have a higher high, really. We came down, we made a low. We came up, we made a lower high. Then we came down, we made a higher low. And now we came up, we made a higher high. Now I really want to see it get above this high here, because I think that would be, this high is more significant, because this only has one top and it's a very quick drop. This, you can see, has multiple areas. For example, all of them here, 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 right? There's a lot of areas there. So this is going to be the trick, getting above that. Now, the big thing is we've been going up since September 6th. We're going up, 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 and now we're running into this resistance. So what happens is momentum stalls out. You gas out, right? If you're running, remember when you're in high school running the mile, you got to go around the track 4 times You know, try doing that today. Like I probably would be gassed out on the third lap or so. So, and you need a little bit of a break. So you get up here and you start, you know, getting a correction. So basically, right, I'm looking for this wave to either break out or flag out and then break out later. So, you know, that's kind of what we're looking at now. If we start making it like a rounded shape, then obviously we got the Wyckoff to look forward to. So I definitely think this is a step in the right direction. The only issue that I see is I mentioned yesterday that if we did break this high, which we did, then it's going to look very three-wave-ish, which it's looking like. So you have an A, B, and a C. So you have that three-wave shape, right? So you could make the argument saying that this is a 1, 2, this is a 3, this is a 4, this is a 5. So that's wave 1, and then we have a three-wave pullback, which is a wave 2, and now we're going to just crash and burn into wave 3, go up for a wave 4, and then continue down in a wave 5, right? It would be horrific, and that could totally happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but if you look here on this theta chart, if I can find it here, and let's go up to the 4-day. So what we have now is only a three-wave pullback, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 waves down, and we have a three-wave move back up, right? And now we have 5 down again. If we get another three-wave back up, and we could get all the way again up into those retracement levels, and then come down like a sort of like a big A, B, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I mean, how does a 20, 30 cent theta sound? Don't think that it's impossible. I mean, that could happen. We could see something like that. Now, I'm bullish in the short term, and obviously the long term too. But when we get into the retracement levels, remember, I think we're creating a bottom. This is a bottoming process. I think we're going to continue higher. But if we get slammed, if we have some major cataclysmic deep state false flags type of event, right? It could be election chaos. It could be the Fed. It could be a black swan or terror attack or cyber attack. I mean, anything that would just like C-19 that would totally disrupt the financial system or the markets or some type of event. We could see a major dump, a major dump, right? And basically, if I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just saying if it did happen, it wouldn't be sort of out of the blue. The reason why is because we have our base, right? We have a we have I would say 1, 2, sort of 3, 4, and 5. Basically, this is a first wave, right? So we have a massive impulse to the upside, and we have 5 waves down, and we have 3 waves up. Now the thing is this could turn into sort of something like this. So we have 3 up, and then we get 3 down, and then we get another 3 up like that. So it becomes a larger 3-wave move, and then come down, right? That would be very vicious, back testing this area. So we have a big impulse and a 3-wave pullback. You see that 3-wave pullback there? And then we would blast off into outer space. So that would be a wave 1, a massive wave 2, and then a big wave 3. And I don't think it would even look like that. I think, and that would take a long time, because if you put the trend-based fib extension based on time, right? So if I go to the bottom here, all the way to the top, let's see, right there. And then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom right here. Whoops. Right about there. You can kind of see where we're at here. Look at that. We sort of reversing here right up that 786. So that's good to see. So from a time perspective, it's looking pretty good. Now, if this thing had to come, for example, if I move this back to here, we sort of bottomed here around that, a little more than the 2. And look at that, the 2618 actually marked the top here. So it's a little bit out of proportion of this impulse wave. That's why I don't think that's going to happen. And if it did happen, I would be more inclined to see it, get back up to here first, right? Have a bigger retracement and then come down and then got to go into reaccumulation and then go higher, right? So like a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout. But, I don't think any of those are on my radar at the moment. Now that could change, right? Again, we're at the bottom here, so I'm bullish. But once we get to the retracement levels, that's where things need to really be very looking at it very strongly as a possibility for a bigger dump, right? So, but if we can get through those retracement levels, right? If this thing comes up impulsively, like if we have a Wyckoff in here or something and we get up here impulsively, then I'll feel more confident. But if it kind of goes up all choppy and correctively, then I'm going to look at it as a B wave, right? So we have A, B, and this could be C, right? So we would have 3 up, we would have 3 down, and then we would probably go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, very strong, very fast. And this whole thing would be A, B, C, right? And if that's an A, B, C, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, 1, 2, 3, B, and then we come down maybe like in a running flat for wave C and then go up. So that's kind of how I would envision it if it wants to be bearish, if it wants to be in more of that bearish camp. Now, sometimes I look at it differently, but just I'm putting it out there just to let you guys know that nothing's ever a for sure. It's got to go up. It's got to break out. It has to. Yes, it will it definitely will, but it could take time, right? I mean, that's the whole thing. So, when we were right here, that's right where I started making theta videos, right around October when we were about 64 cents. Basically, I came out saying I'm expecting a retracement. Well, we came up and we actually got a retracement. I was hoping we can get a little bit higher, but that's okay. We still went up quite a bit. Then we came all the way back down. Now we're back testing. Now I'm saying I want a retracement of this wave here. So you can see this wave right here came where? All the way to this area here. So if we do the same thing, then where is that? Well, watch this. I'll do the same thing right here. So we should see about $1 or $2, right? So then we would get up here somehow, right? Get up there. And then what we would do? Well, we would do the same thing as we're doing now. We would get up there and then we would come all the way back down and we would back test this area. We would flag out in here. And then from there, that's when we want to continue breaking out, right? So we're at $1.50, guys. So that's this is a good deal. And also just look at the downward resistance line, right? We've clearly broken above it. And then you have your horizontal line here. We've clearly broken above that. Let's go to the weekly chart. I haven't looked at it. Wow, that looks really good. That's a 3 white soldier sort of pattern. So if you go to Google, type in 3 white soldier candlestick pattern, you got a little bit of a doji here. You got a bullish hammer, came up, tagged the low, another doji, higher low, 3 white soldiers, breakout. So remember what I said on Friday, or was it Friday or Sunday, or one of those days over the weekend, that this weekly candle was very important, which was last week. And last week we closed above this swing high. And I said, usually when that happens, we're going to get a wick that probably retested 50%. But the confirmation in itself is bullish. And look what we got after that. Another big fat candle climbing higher, right? So the next area of resistance would be right about, what is that? About $1.65 or so. So, but you know, we gotta be cautious here because this could be pulling back, or at least back testing, right? So let's look at the smaller time frames a little bit. Let's go to the 1 hour here. Whoops. Charge my phone. Okay. So I was kind of looking at this yesterday, and I was, I can't remember what we said, but we have 3 down. Kind of have like a 3-way move here. Boom, boom, and boom. Sort of like a, you know, like a flat, I guess you can say. And yeah, so A, B, and a C. Now typically, you know, you would want to come down from here, but actually what we have was pretty simple when you look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we had sort of this A, B, and C. And then we had a 1, 2, and now we have a 3. So I'm looking for a 4. Maybe it comes all the way back and retest way down here. But I'm ultimately looking for a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And then from there, I would expect the wave to be finished. So now that the wave has progressed, right, now we can sort of, you know, kind of gauge what it is. So before it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And this was an A, this was a B, and then we were going to get C. So that's kind of like to look at on the face. So we popped the high. So now we actually have 7 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm imagining it's probably going to be finished, right? Usually when you get 7 waves, that's sort of when it gets cooked. Now, this wave in here might not be finished. We might have one more little high for that 5th wave. But ultimately, this thing should be doing something like that. That's what I would imagine. Now, if we get a bigger breakout here, right, then I'm kind of looking at it as a 1, 2, 1, 2 in here, right? So let me go to the 4 hour. And let me put this little zone right in here, right? So I would like to see it a little bit higher, because I really want to see it flag out in this sort of zone, right? So yeah, it kind of needs a correction. So you know, the way I would count it now would be this would be a 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 1, that's 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. This is 4, and now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That would be 5. and then we would get that bigger correction. And then from there, you know, just pull up your Fibonacci levels here and go on up. I'll just take the high where we're at now. So as long as we stay above that 618, 702, we're in business, right? I mean, I would like to see like a 382 or even a 50%. So somewhere in this zone in here, right in here. That would be the back test, or that would be the pullback zone, right? So if this is, you know, a 1 or a 1, 2, or actually 1, and that's 2. This is 1, and then we get another 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, right? Let's go. And we've talked about the 1-2s a lot. Just look at Bitcoin. So let's look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin also popped the high, which is good to see. But yeah, remember the other day I was talking about this 1, 2, 1, 2 here, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2. It's got that little M shape, right? And then continue higher. So theta right now could actually be somewhere right in here, right? So let's see how it turns out, right? It is Thursday, and look what today is, right? I always talk about Thursdays. So for some reason, I mean, just look at all of those green. I mean, look at that. That's a lot of green right there. Something about Thursdays I've noticed lately, very volatile, right? It could be up, it could be down. So anyways, let's look at Bitcoin here. You can see we popped the high, which is good. That could either be the end of the 5th. So we would have 1, 2, and then we would have 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe like a diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a wonky looking diagonal for wave 5. I'm not sure about that though. I don't like the shape of it. I was looking yesterday. Well, first of all, this is XRP. Now I was thinking of WXY. Where's it at here? Here we go. So Bitcoin. I was looking at this. I took the screenshot yesterday. You know, we had 3 down, we had 3 up, we had 3 back down. I was looking at that as a running flat WXY and expected higher prices. So if you fast forward today, boom, that's what we got. So not too bad. So let me zoom in here a little bit on the current time frames. So you, obviously, right, you could see we had 3 down, right? And then we had 3 back up, and then we had 3 back down. So we had 3, 3, and 3. Now, to the untrained eye, people just look at that like, oh, I don't, you know, that's just volatility. I'm not sure how to read it. It's going up, it's going down. I'm not sure what to make of it. Blah, blah, blah. I'll just wait till the range breaks, and then they buy the range, or they buy the breakout. It breaks out just for a little bit, and it comes all the way back down and stops them out. So that's why, you know, that's why I'm doing these videos, is to kind of show you how wave structure actually works, right? Markets are constantly correcting themselves to the upside, to the downside, constantly, right? And in between, rarely you get these impulses. So again, we have 3 down, right? You could see 3 back up, and sometimes you might think, okay, here's a 3-way pullback. I'm expecting a big move to the upside. But sometimes you know, it could get more complex, right? We get 3 down, and then we start rolling over, and you're like, well, what's happening? Oh, okay, now I see it. We're getting 3 up. So then you expect maybe another 3 down, right? So, and that's what we did. We had a WXY. We had a very sharp impulse off of that, right? And then we sort of broke the high, and now we came down, and now we're back testing it. So let's see if we can consolidate here and continue this momentum. Now, when we look at the daily chart, it's getting much more bullish, simply because we officially have a higher high now. You see that? So that was one of the big things. Can we get a higher high? And we did. We finally did. So that's a very good sign. This is the right step. This is the step in the right direction. So let me just put that right there. So you can see, here's your high. We came down and we wicked up here, and now you can see we're starting to sell off in here. So, but you can also see all of this is wicks, all of this is wicks, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we sort of consolidate in here a little bit before going higher, right? Or we need to come down because the 5th wave is done. But you know, if you're looking at it at the daily chart, this is only a 3-wave move. 1, 2, 3. So actually, I would like to see it get a little bit higher, then pull back for a wave 4, then get a wave 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then sort of flagging out in here, and then really start to accelerate. So that's the ultimate sort of bullish count, something to look for. Another thing too is, you know, we put this downward resistance line here, and that could be a potential target to where we're possibly heading, right? Which would be around that 68,000. So we're still quite a ways away from that downward resistance line. And you can see it's not that slanted. Like, for example, Theta's downward resistance line was much more steep, making it easier to break, right? So let's see if we can break that. What else could it be? Well, like I said before, we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and this could be 1, 2, 3 back down with sort of a flat, like a running correction, right? So it could be finished, and this is our first impulse off the low, and we could be heading back towards the resistance before we start to flag out in here and continue higher. So same kind of thing, just looked at a little bit differently. Another thing too is, you know, this could still be, well, we have 3 up, right? This could still be 3 back down like that before having 5 or 3 back up later. So that would be a bigger ABC, which could turn into a 4 and a 5. So an impulse. Yeah, so definitely we're ranging right in here, right? So, you know, when you're in a range and you're going up, eventually you're going to come back down. It's just bound to happen unless you can get a big breakout that breaks us out of here. But the thing is you see these drops down, drop down, drop down. We don't want those anymore. We want something like this. See how that... Here's a really good educational lesson right here. Look at this. You see how we were rolling to the upside? We were going very fast, right? And the market was very bullish, right? And look at the way it corrected. The market was coming off of a big high, like a massive dopamine high, which meant that this correction was bullish, right? It was you can see the waves in it. It was very wavy, and that's what bullish corrections look like. But then we came back up and we failed to break the high after this bullish correction. And then what happened? We dropped hard. We came up and it was so fast and quick, we came straight back up and then we dropped hard again, right? Fast to the downside, and then we shot back up and then we came down again. So we had 1, 2.5 big dumps, right? So, you know, as we make our way back up here, we want this type of structure, not this. We don't want that. We want it to be wavy, right? So if we get up here and it quickly comes down again, we don't want to break the low. If we break the low, then it could still be technically like a WXY, but it just increases the risk of us breaking the other low, right? But if we come down nice and wavy like this, then it's going to be a bullish setup, right? And that's kind of what I'm thinking. I got a little bit of a cup here. Let's get a handle, right? So resistance 1, resistance 2. So if we get rejected here, we need a little bit of a handle. That would be nice to see, just basically flagging out. If we come up and get rejected here, then the same thing. It's just a higher move, right? But what we really don't want to do is, you know, start breaking 57. Right? We really want to stay above 57 to 60K. Now, I mean, look we're at 65K. Can you imagine going all the way back down to 57 once again? I mean, it just would destroy the sort of that confidence. But if it happens fast, like a quick liquidity grab, that's a little different. But if we're hanging down there for a while, it's, you know. But overall, when you zoom out and you look at it, to me, it looks like we're just flagging out in here, just like how this was flagging out, right? Just like how this flagged out, but it went to the downside instead of the upside, right? Same thing like what this was doing. We had a flag in here, boom, 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 boom. So anytime we're waving down, we're gonna break up. It's only a matter of time. Or if we don't get that fifth wave, right? Because that's the whole idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we don't get that, then we're going down into reaccumulation. We're going to go sideways, then we'll break out later on. So that's really what it comes down to. So Matic. I'm really liking Matic right now a little bit for some reason. I don't know. I just got a little bit of a feeling here with Matic. Obviously, we've been looking at this massive 3-wave correction. I mean, look at this. That's a huge, beautiful 3-wave move. Obviously, you can see that 3-wave move. You can see that 3. So we have 3 down. Okay. We have 3 up. Right? So there's your W. There's your X. Boom. And there's your Y. Look at that. I mean, that's perfect. And then I got to zoom out even more just to look at it. Look at that. And I think that's kind of what happened here too. Yeah, you can see like 3 down, right? We had 3 up, and then look at that. We had 3 back down. So we had a WXY flat, and then we had a 1, 2. And then we had 3, 4, and 5. So, now you could say this is the 5th wave here, in which case you still have a 3-wave move. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, it's looking good. And for Matic, I'm not expecting anything insane. All I want to see is a retracement back to about 75 cents right in here. So Matic actually changed their name. Well, they always been the same name, but it's called Pol now. Pol USD, which is Polygon, right? So this is the new chart. I don't like it because there's no history on it, right? I can't look back and see. So that's all I have, right? So for now, I'm just going to use this chart. Same chart. So yeah, Matic's looking pretty decent. Remember, we had this huge dump, three-way pullback, another huge dump, another three-way pullback. So it's kind of bearish on the face of it. But I think, you know, it's trying to hold a bottom because we came down, we came back up. We came down, we came back up, came down. So you can see we're holding in here. We're holding in here. We're holding. So, you know, as long as this level holds, I'm anticipating a bottoming process. Yeah, and I like the wave. Right? We got a 1, 2. We have a 3, 4, and then we have an extended fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? But then what the hell is that? It's like a wonky looking three-wave shape. It could be also Wyckoff, right? Because if you compare theta, for example, let me just put theta right here. This is why I kind of like Matic, because if you look at theta, look where it's at. Here's the swing high, and look where it's at. It's breaking out. But theta, or Matic, is way down here, right? So for example, let me remove everything now and put Matic back on. So you can see Matic is way down here, right? So remember, theta and a few other ones broke this high. So theta actually came all the way up, and now it's breaking out. So theta is actually right there, but Matic is still way down here. So that's why I'm looking at it like maybe it's a good potential for a dollar cost averaging, you know, adding, right? So but yeah, I'm kind of looking for a move higher for the price of Matic. Now, XRP. Oh, XRP, the land of gray hairs. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's guys, there's nothing to say about it except it's primed. It looks ready to go. Like it could happen at any moment. I mean, everything is set up perfectly for XRP to perform. It just needs to catch the bid, right? I mean, you have everything you would need. And I can go through all this once again, but I've done it many times. Let me just go to, let's see here. Like I said, XRP is primed. If you just look at it from this perspective, right, you can see we should be ready to go. I mean, this is exactly what happened over here. Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout, accumulation box 1, 2, liquidity grab, go. I mean, it's the same thing, right? And even if we just take all of this off and say, okay, let's forget about that, we still have a completed triangle. We have 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, and 3 down. I mean, it's like perfect. You know, A, B, C, D, E. This is a contracting triangle. We're right at the apex. This is the final wave E, right? So if you look closely at wave E, it's finished. And what came after wave E? An impulse. And what comes after an impulse? A 3-wave pullback. And what comes after that? Launch mode into space. And that's what we should expect, right? But let's, you know, I mean, this is, again, not financial advice. It could be wrong. We have this A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, C. So we have a 3-wave move down. And that 3-wave move is correcting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 up and 3 down. And you can see this 3 is flagging out too, just like Bitcoin is, right? So if you look at it from that perspective, I'll just put the annotations on just for the visual learners out there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. And then we have an A, B, C. Perfect. And what do we have now? Off of that ABC? Well, to me, I don't know about you, but that looks like a 1. This looks like a 2. So what comes next? We need a 3. We need a 3, 4, and 5. So that's how I'm looking at it. And so now that we've established that, now let's look at what's going on right in here. So you can see pretty clearly that this thing is flagging out, right? You can also see we have an A, a B, and a C. We have a 3-wave move, right? So we have an impulse to the upside, and we have a 3-wave pullback, and now we came all the way back up, and now we're sort of consolidating here, right? Maybe we have to go back down into reaccumulation for a little bit and then go up later on. But I think all in all, I think it's primed. I think it's primed. And you can say, well, what about before? You can see this area we came down, we came up, this area we came down. But look at the shape though. It doesn't have the 3-wave shape like this does. This has a nice 3-wave shape. This just came all the way down. This just came all the way down. But this stopped right here. That's important. Right? And then besides, this was in the middle of a B wave. Okay? So now let's look at the smaller time frames. And let's take a look at exactly what's going on here. So now that we've covered that, once again, for people who are potentially new to the channel, by the way, welcome. If you can, hit that subscribe button. I just got to 3,000 subscribers. I'm lost for words. I never would have thought that. You can say, well, that's small. Well, yeah, compared to like a lot of other people. I mean, they got tens of thousands. But I never imagined even getting close to that. If I can help a couple hundred people out, I'm happy. I mean, hey, my videos get, 3, 4, 500 views. That's cool with me. That's 500 people. That's a lot of people, right? I mean, just, over time, I mean, it helps out. And for me, it's not about getting views so I can get paid. I don't get any money from YouTube. Maybe a couple bucks. Right? Nothing at all significant, right? I mean, if you want to make money on YouTube, you got to have at least 30 to 40,000 views per video to actually make a living off of it, right? So I'm not doing this for money. I do welcome donations for, supporting the channel, but I'm doing this to sort of, pay it forward. And the way I learned, and I feel like there's a missing gap out there in YouTube, because I feel like if there was a channel out there like mine, specifically like mine, I would have never done it, because why would I need to? There's other people out there that can teach, right? So you have the shot callers, you have the quick updates, and then you have the more educational stuff like my videos, right? That way you don't need a YouTube video. You could just look at it yourself and figure it out, because it's all about being independent at the end of the day. Right? So, anyways, we got this impulse to the upside. We have a 3-wave move down. We have a 3-wave move up. And then we have another 3-wave move down. So we have 1, 2, 3. It's called a double 3. Right? A double 3. So 3, 3, 3. Right? And this is a rising trend line. So that's number 1. We're rising. Number 2, we have number 1, we have an impulse. Number 2, we have a 3-wave correction. Number 3, we have a rising trend line. Number 4, we're back in retracement levels. So I mean, the next thing is either going into reaccumulation, then going higher, or breaking out. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Do I know the answer? No, I don't. But if we do have to come down, we have the bull market support band right there, right? So, but let's zoom in here and let's try to figure out what the heck is that doing on the small time frame here. It's an awkward looking shape, or is it? Let's take a look at it. So when I look at it, actually, let me go to. Let's go about 45-minute chart. There we go. Okay, so when a regular person sees this, it could be a little bit difficult to read, and sometimes it is, right? But what I see is I start from the top. Now, sometimes you want to start here, depending if this is, if this was a clear fifth wave, then I can say I'll start from here. So we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's a 3-wave move. We'll say that's W. We have 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's another 3-wave move. We'll say that's X. And then look what we have. We have 1, 2, 3. This is another 3-wave move. That's Y. Now, is it possible that Y isn't finished? Yes, it is. For example, yes, we have a 3-wave move, but it could kind of turn into sort of a bigger move up before down, right? So 1, 2, 3, it could do something like that. So we have to be a little bit skeptical. But all in all, I think we have a good chance here that was the bottom. I liked how it sort of made this little falling wedge. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, and then it just, you can see the trend lines here, and it just took it out. And then it also took out all this liquidity. And look what happened after it did that. There's a lot of liquidity there. Look what happened. We shot way up there fast, right? And we took this out, right? So that's a good sign. That tells me that, this 3-wave move could be done, right? Another way we can look at it, if we want to be even more kind of technical, is to say that, this could be maybe a flat where we have 3 up, sort of 3 down, and then 5 up. So A, B, C, an expanded flat. And if I flip it upside down, you can kind of see it a little better. Since we're used to seeing it in a bullish way. So you have this expanded flat here, which, if that's the case, means what? Downside. So this whole thing could be A, B, and then we got to go down C later on, right? And if that's the case, then that would tell me that this 5-wave move is done. So we would have a 1, 2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, and then we would have ABC 4, and then we would come up and hit number 5. Okay, so idea number 1 was W, X, Y running flat. It's done. We're going to flag out, continue higher. Idea number 2 is that this is a 1, this is a 2, all of that's 3, this is 4, and this is 5. So let me just take that off so we can see it a little better here. So there we go. And then let me get some color in here. Okay, so 1, 2. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 3. And then we have a 3-way pullback. That's 4. And then we have 5. I don't really like it a lot because this is only a 3-wave move, but it is what it is. And then what do we have? And then we have an A. This could be an expanded flat for B. And now we have to come down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A, B, C, right? So what we would then have, right, is a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an ABC pullback. And that ABC pullback can get all the way back down to, 54, 55 cents or so, and then continue higher. So those are the two ideas, right? So either it's going to be 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, WXY, running flat, and now this is a 1, we're going to get 2, we're going to continue higher. Or this is an ABC, and then we continue higher. So those are the two ideas. And how do you know which one's going to be valid? Well, we have to watch minute by minute to see how it forms. If it starts breaking, breaking these lows here, and then we come up and retest it as resistance, then we're going to know it's an ABC. Then what we would do from there is we would count 5 waves down, right? So that's basically all you got to do. I mean, it sounds easy, but it could be very challenging. But if you're a hodler, an investor, and you're buying, you're not selling, you're just accumulating, then it becomes easier because you don't have to worry about necessarily, because when you look back a couple years from now, 59 cents, 56 cents, it's not going to really make too much of a difference where you got in at, right? So all in all, what I'm also looking for XRP is to just simply break this zone here and then get back to that 60 cent level, right? That's what we're looking for XRP. Now, do we have to, can this do it now, right? And that expanded or running flat, or is this an A, B, C, and then we do it later on? Well, we'll see. We'll find out. But I think that'll do it. I think Solana had a pretty big pump. Look at that. Solana had a pump today, back above the bull market support band. Yeah, you know what? It doesn't look finished to me. It looks like it could be a little bit more juice in the tank here. Remember, look at Solana. I mean, this is a very powerful 3-way pullback. We had a massive wave 1, 3-way pullback, 1, 2. Looks like another 1, 2. So maybe this thing can get going here. Now, overall, we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and, or what we can say really is 3 down, all of this is 3, right? And then this is 5. So 3, 3, 5. 1, 2. 1, 2. Go. We'll see. All right, guys, that'll do it. Not financial advice. Always remember that. I could be wrong. It could go to 0 or it could go to $1 million. Who really knows? We're all just trying to figure it out. But only time will tell. Only time will prove if it's right or if it's wrong. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.